Hi, welcome to this special broadcast. My name is Kevin Tachi, joined by State Representative Josh Cutler, representing the 6th Plymouth District. And we're here to discuss the latest updates in regards to the ongoing pandemic, COVID-19, the coronavirus. Representative, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got to ask you, starting right off, this started 10 days ago. What has it been like getting information and as things have changed up there at the State House with you?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. And thanks for putting together this special session. Well, like many folks, things have changed rapidly. I look back and think, last week seems like a month ago. And I'm sure that's the same for many of your listeners as well. Obviously, every day new developments are happening. We're trying to respond and react as quickly as we can. But it's certainly, unprecedented type of situation we're facing here. I'm here at the State House right now, and we've just wrapped up some quick business for today. Obviously, we're taking every precaution here at the State House and operating under a different process than normal, working in informal sessions with a small number of legislators. Today, for instance, we took up legislation to give more flexibility to our cities and towns when it comes to town elections and setting town election dates, which has been a major concern. So lots of moving parts, it seems like every day there's a major development. Obviously today, Governor Baker came out with his order to shut and close all non-essential state businesses, which is something that we've already gotten a lot of inquiries about. So
I think the other thing I would ask you is you talked about the state and city, the town elections. What else has been affected by this besides just the elections? Have open meetings been affected as well?
Yeah, I mean, you name it. Every facet of life seems like it's been impacted here. I can tell you, from a local municipal point of view, obviously our local boards of selectmen and local school committee members still need to meet and to function. And Governor Baker did sign an executive order last week. Again, that seems like ages ago, but it was just last week to give those local boards some more flexibility when it comes to meeting the requirements of the open meeting law, to have virtual meetings. And I can tell you, I participated in my first ever virtual select board meeting in the town of Pembroke. It was actually broadcast live on Community Access, which is another reminder how important community access is during these times. And folks, got to call in if they wanted to. And we had a selectmen's meeting, but it was all virtual. So those are the kinds of steps that many cities and towns are now taking in sort of this, this unprecedented time. But so obviously it's impacting local government, local select board meetings, impacting town meeting. Many of our communities in this area have, old-fashioned town meeting, and obviously that is not something that is really safe to do right now. So many towns are postponing their town meetings. We're going to be taking up legislation to allow them to further postpone town meetings and offer more flexibility. I suspect we're going to be doing that bill later this week. Today we moved on the town election issue again to let communities reschedule their town elections before the end of June so that they can do so in a safer way. So those are just a couple ways that have changed. This has changed our daily lives, but obviously there's many more that your viewers and all of us are experiencing, on a daily basis, just from, shopping for groceries to trying to keep our kids from going crazy.
If I could ask you, I know that you and I had a conversation a couple of days ago in regards to an initiative that the governor has put forth, or that state government has put forth to help small businesses, because they're going to be the ones that are going to feel the crunch by this. Is there something that's going to help small businesses in the meantime?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's already been a number of steps that have been taken already, and there's other things that are in the works. Obviously, in terms of small businesses, we're very concerned about the impact that all these orders are going to have on our small businesses. So there are a couple of options out there already. One is the Small Business Administration, the SBA, a federal agency, has a small business economic disaster loan program. We requested and were granted approval to be considered a disaster to qualify for this program. And so that is an option for folks. Small businesses can get loans for up to $2 million with favorable terms and interest rates. And that's available through the SBA website. And again, all these links are all on my website and on Facebook and and certainly available on the state website as well. But so that's one option. The state has another small business loan recovery fund. We allocated $10 million to allow businesses to tap into that for up to $75,000 for small businesses. The initial round of funding already was used up, and this week they are meeting to reauthorize additional funding for that. So stay tuned there. Those are a couple tools that have been to help our small business community. We've also extended and delayed state business taxes that were due actually this week for meals tax, for sales tax, and other forms of taxes, business taxes for small businesses. Those have been extended to June. In terms of workers, many folks obviously facing the prospects of unemployment. We've already made some changes to our unemployment system to accommodate that, one of which was legislation that was approved just last week here in the House and Senate and signed by the governor to to waive the 1 week delay for collecting unemployment benefits. There used to be a 1 week delay before you could start collecting. We've waived that, so you can start collecting the benefits right away. Other changes have been made already through executive order, through the governor and his Department of Unemployment Assistance. They've now been scheduling virtual town halls. There was one on Sunday, there was one on Monday, there'll be one every day in the near term for anybody who wants to remotely, like we're doing right now, to join in via Zoom or other platforms to learn about the process for collecting unemployment and how you go through that, because a lot of people have a lot of questions. It's one of the first things, and it's kind of scary time for many people. It's obviously even scarier if you're out of work or have to collect unemployment. And so, we're offering these town halls, these virtual town halls, to help people kind of walk through the steps of how you go about doing that. And obviously my office is here to help, and we're getting a lot of inquiries ourselves from people who have questions about the process, or how do I qualify? How do I qualify, and what's the next step? So lots going on. There's some discussions also about our tax filing deadlines. I expect we're going to see those move. They've already made some provisions to allow people to get extensions more easily. But really any, you name it, whatever aspect of life has been impacted by this, there are steps and discussions being taken right now to see how can we offer more flexibility? How can we help people? I know there's a lot of questions I get about rent and mortgages, and whether we can do something to try to help people who are not be evicted from their homes or not face mortgage foreclosures. And that's something that's actively being discussed right now. So what steps we can take as a Commonwealth to try to help people in those situations. So lots of resources out there. Again, I would urge folks, maybe you can put it on your Cryon. I don't know if we can still have the ability to do that. mass.gov/COVID-19, mass.gov/COVID-19 has all kinds of information about resources for businesses, resources for workers, resources for healthcare folks, you name it. They have great information, and I would really strongly urge folks to check that out as a source of accurate information, because there's sometimes, unfortunately, some inaccurate information out there as well.
It's worth noting that the order that was the shelter in place of the non-essential folks to stay at home was put in place, and it's along the same date line that when the governor asked for schools to close until April 6th, April 7th. Is there going to be an assessment the week prior to see where things are with the number of cases and number of people testing positive before that's assessed, and maybe that deadline is extended? Have there been any conversations in that area?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's pretty likely, Kevin. I mean, obviously the April 7th is the deadline we're using right now. But as the facts on the ground change, that deadline could certainly be extended. Hopeful that it's not, but obviously realistic that it well could be. We still have some time as we sit here today to see where the numbers are. And I think, as we look at the daily statistics about cases and positive cases and hospitalizations and unfortunately some fatalities, we'll have a better sense in 7 days, 2 weeks, that period of time to see where things are at. So it's really hard to say and hard to speculate at this point.
Any conversations that you're hearing up at the State House in regards to the folks who are in the medical field? We're looking at, we haven't seen the onslaught yet like New York has seen, like Washington State or California. But the fear is that it's just a matter of when we might see an uptick. Any conversations in regards to being able to get proper supplies, or making sure that our hospitals have what they need, the staff and the surgeons and the nurses have what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of discussion about that topic. It's probably one of the number one topics right now. And a new acronym PPE, personal protective equipment, is the term we've all been using. And obviously, we have a shortage. We need more of this. There is something called the Federal National Strategic Stockpile that has protective equipment like this, like the masks, the ventilators, and those kinds of things. And we as a Commonwealth have already requested supply from the national stockpile. We've gotten a small amount. We've gotten, I believe, about 10% of what we requested. Obviously, other states are requesting this as well. And we've asked, and frankly, our federal delegation, Senator Markey and others, have really been very active in terms of trying to get the White House to release that equipment, because we desperately need it. This would be for our first responders, for our health care workers, those folks who are really on the front lines here. And we're hearing all kinds of anecdotal reports about how they don't have enough masks, they don't have enough ventilators for what we anticipate will be the problem. So that's happening for sure. Also, the governor has addressed this. We're looking directly. We're not just waiting for the federal government. We're looking directly, talking to manufacturers in Massachusetts and elsewhere to try to procure this directly from manufacturers, more equipment. And also Mass Bio, which is the sort of the policy trade group for the biotech industry, has been working on this and trying to get folks to centralize. A lot of people, coming, this brings out the good side of people as well. And we've seen a lot of people coming forward, a lot of businesses, a lot of individuals trying to find ways that they can help. And so Mass Bio has come up with a framework for the life sciences and healthcare folks. If they have extra surplus equipment or have the ability to maybe manufacture something or to produce something on a short-term basis, they're asking people to go to their website to sign up, and more information will be provided. So that's Mass Bio. If you want to get more information, if you happen to be involved in a manufacturing business or some other business that might be able to help or quickly transition to help our frontline folks and first responders to get that kind of equipment. So a lot of discussions happening, Kevin. It's obviously a top priority. And I know for the governor and for our federal and U.S. representatives, they're definitely working hard on that. A little frustrating though.
What has it been like personally, what is it like to witness this? These are unprecedented times that we are living in. This is uncharted water for any of us. You as a person, take the elected official hat off. What has it been like to kind of witness this, whether it's seeing it for yourself or witnessing good things that are happening in and around the South Shore?
Yeah, well, like Kevin, I'm impacted just like everyone else, and trying to keep my kids from climbing off the wall, and trying to give them information, but not scare them, but make sure they understand that what's going on. Trying to make sure they have some routine in life, and not just totally playing video games all day, at least for my older son. So that that's an impact, and this definitely is a challenging time. But I do see, I like to look on the bright side. I think you see a lot of the good in people. I really truly do. You see people coming out of the woodwork to try to help. We get more people calling my office with requests to find ways to help, and it's just challenging to know where to plug everybody in, because obviously there's some ways we're limited in that sense. The best way folks can help is just to be smart, to practice social distancing, stay at home if they can, and not go out unless it's really necessary. So it's strange times. I'm optimistic. I think obviously we're going to get through this. It's definitely a challenge, and I just feel fortunate that I'm in a position where I can try to be able to be helpful to people, as there are many others.
Anything we haven't touched upon during the conversation before we wrap up here, but you want to make sure that you at least touch upon?
Yeah, no. So obviously, I know information is changing on a daily basis. Obviously, on Monday, Governor Baker issued his order to close all non-essential businesses. I know many people have questions about, is my business included? Am I included? And if you go to my website, or if you go to the website, themass.gov/COVID-19, there is a PDF document that lists every single exempt business. It's quite extensive, and people can go and review that list and see how their business is classified. If they have questions, they can reach out certainly to me or to any of their elected representatives. So that's breaking news. That just happened today, Monday. And obviously every day we're getting new statistics on the testing data, which is helping to shape this, what we know and what we are learning about this as well. And I'm sure tomorrow there'll be some more developments. But my message to you, I guess, with Kevin, would be that here at the state level, we're continuing to operate. Obviously, things are different. it's not the same old routine, but our state government is continuing to operate. And, from the legislature to the executive branch, we're all working together, really united. Everything we're doing is by what we call unanimous consent here, meaning any individual legislator could object, but they're not, because we're all working together. And I think that's one of the nice aspects of this, if there can be one, is that it is bringing out the best in everyone in the spirit of cooperation, which I think is important.
Well, I want to thank you for taking this time to kind of give the latest on what's going on, even doing a little backfill as to up until 10, 12 days ago when we started really seeing the effects of this and hearing the calls for folks to be safe and do the social distancing and hand washing and all the important things that the CDC is asking us to do. Again, I thank you and hopefully we'll have a better update when we speak in the coming days.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Kevin. Thanks for all you're doing.